George, second attempt at this step. I was getting so many things backwards, might as well just redo the whole thing. So step number 23 will be assembling the LCD panel. Now, there are two ways of mounting this, and this is just going to be based upon your preference, whether you want it above, attached to the 3D printer, or if you want it so you can slide it around right here on your desktop within reason, within reach of the cables. Now, you will need acrylic part number 21, the LCD frame, acrylic part number 22 if you want to mount this, say on a table or something like so. Since I am not going with that option, we will not discuss it. For the people who do want it, you will need 4 M3 square nuts, excuse me, 2 M3 square nuts that will be placed here and here. And you are going to need I believe it's 24. No, it's not 24. Part number 25. Screw number 25. The life of me, I don't know what size screw that is, and if you just give me a second, I can tell that to you. Screw number 25 is M3 by 12. So you will need 2 M3 by 12 screws and 2 M3 square nuts to secure the freestanding base. In addition to that, you will need to also secure the LCD panel onto the frame holder. And probably the only difference with that is that you will be using all the acrylic washers, probably all 6, to have the correct spacing, or you can just take these same brackets and turn them upside down, and then you have the same spacing. So, and the reason why you're going to need those brackets, we'll move on to step 23 for the top mounted LCD panel. We are going to need acrylic part 20, which is acrylic washer, 4 of these, 2 of the acrylic 823 acrylic part number 23s, LCD frame holder. Of course, we will need part number 79, the LCD panel. And whenever you need to route these cables, you will be disconnecting them. So pay attention to how this goes, in case you're wondering. As you can see, I've actually split the wires apart, so you can definitely tell one wire's here, one wire's there, and they line up like so. So in case anybody unplugs it and doesn't know how to plug them back in. Both cables are the same, and you just got to make sure you got one on the left and one on the right, and this is the orientation. Okay. So part number 79, the only one that you'll have. We are also going to need excuse me, 6 of the M3 by 20 screws, part number 27. 6 M3 nuts, part number 11. And also 6 or 12 M3 flat washers. And to start with, we're putting on a washer, M3 flat washer onto the M3 by 20 screw. We're going to feed it through one of the 4 holes on the plate that will align with this panel. Paying attention to how the orientation of it. I'm going to place first the acrylic frame LCD holder, part number 23, then followed by the acrylic washer, part number 20. I will then align the LCD panel into its corresponding slot. Minding the reset button goes into that specific hole. And as you can see, if you can see, that's spacing, I can't get no light there. That spacing worked out nice, same as the speaker buzzer that's mounted on the PC board. So now we are going to follow with an M3 flat washer. In my preference, some people may just use one washer just below the nut or below the screw, whichever one they turn. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 to ensure that I have equal force spreading across LCD board. And we're going to go ahead and repeat that step 3 more times. M3 by 20 screw, M3 flat washer, inserting down to the lower left corner, and I'm taking an acrylic washer, sliding it over, and just lining it up. In theory, you could just set this on the table with all the screws in place and set it up that way. So might as well just do that. Again, M3 flat washer is going on to an M3 by 20 screw. And do that one more time. Put it into the other 2 corresponding holes that will mount for the LCD panel. Now I'm attaching part number 23, the frame holder, and dropping on 2 more acrylic washers, part number 20. And we'll now follow with the LCD panel. Careful the alignment of the reset button. Okay. We're going to follow with an M3 flat washer on each of the 4 screws, M3 by 20 screws. And threading on an M3 nut, part number 11. Come on now. going to do the opposite side. Let me get back in the camera here. There we go. A little better, right? And it sounds like the party's moving over here. Securing the last two nuts. Should look something like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten everything down. Once again, using just regular ordinary pair of pliers because it's handy. And the Allen wrench. Tighten these pretty snug. I did receive comments on that they have bad soldering jobs sometimes. I have not seen anything myself. I did see one kinda half cold solder joint. Nothing too worried about it. Not really too worried about it. Where it is on the board, probably won't even have enough voltage to have a problem with it. So, tighten down all four of these screws. As I was saying, I did check all the solder joints as best I could. The LCD panel was very clean and nice looking. Didn't see any globs of solder. I did check the pins right above it and below it, and I couldn't find one defect on here. Now on here, the Sanguinololu, whatever you call it, board. Sanguinololu board. Anyways, I had a one. Where is that sucker? No, I saw one. I saw a cold solder joint on here somewhere. So take my word for it. Now, the next step, 23. Camera back over here. Zoom out. Be attaching said acrylic panel to the top of the acrylic panel number 1. The LCD panel to acrylic panel number 1. Again, we're going to be taking the M3 by 20 screws, and we will be using a total of 12 washers. So I'm going to go ahead and put on a washer on each of the M3 by 20 screws. Now there's 3 holes for you to place this LCD panel upon, and 2 of them will line up. I think I want to place it on front. we're going to follow with an M3. Oh, got some spinach here. There we go. M3 flat washer. And now I'm going to go on the front. Go ahead and attach an M3 flat washer and an M3 nut. Secure that into place. Now I don't know if they left that a little short on purpose. You can actually it just lines up just perfect. I'm going to take the second screw and go ahead and feed that through. Now it appears that you're going to need to mount it on the front with this leg here. Not sure why. I believe the leg should have been a hair longer and it should have been sitting on top. But we'll see if they adjust it for others. For now, if you get the same set as me, this is, I guess, where we're going to put it, unless you use the freestanding option. Just going to go ahead and snug these up real quick. We are done with that. That's it for step 23. So, as you can see, it's coming together quite nicely. Quite honestly, it's about a day's work. A lot of that, about an hour time, just peeling the acrylic, the paper off the acrylic. With these videos, you should be able to do this a lot quicker, and I'm glad to do them for you. I just wish I had more of a budget to do more. So that's it for this step right here. We're about 20 minutes or so talking your ear off for a few. My apologies. If you ever work with electronics, you do want to get a grounded wristband, anti-static of some sort, and it just will clip on to any ground source that you have. Right now I'm just clipped onto a wire off my electrical box, ground wire. So next thing I'll be doing will be cleaning up some of this mess. We'll probably be mounting power supply, building the filament holder, and until then, y'all have a good one.